Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucks Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy October 24th, 2025. Whether you're here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad, I hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday. Man, we're flying out of the gates. Marissa, thank you so much for the super chat. David Terry with the super chat. This is how we're going to keep this ball rolling, baby. Super chats. And of course, the love from our partners here, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956 for all your commercial and residential needs. And of course, EverHealth, who are part of our EverHealth Injury Report every Thursday. So Marissa and David, thank you so much for contributing to the program. I always want to hear from you guys. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen, just like our friend Janet Best. Thank God it's Friday. Everybody Bucks win. I don't know what's the deal with the names today. I don't know why it's so different, but it usually says Janet Best. I know that's you, Janet, and I appreciate you for always supporting us here on the program. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe. We're getting closer and closer and closer to 1,900 subscribers. I want 2,000 by the end of the year. That is the goal. We're up to 1,880 plus. Really, really good stuff. I can't thank you guys enough. I know, so weird, Janet, but I know it's you. I know it is you. Again, follow me at Recher. Kill that like button if you're watching, wherever you're watching today, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Make sure you kill that like button. That's the way we're going to share this and the way we're going to grow this thing, by liking and sharing, subscribing, doing a little bit of everything. What a show we have lined up for you guys today. It was a year ago today that we lost the great Amir Abdur-Rahim. So I'm going to give my thoughts here in a couple of minutes on that, knowing how important he was to our community and to me personally. Joey Johnston is going to join us at 12:15 today. Talk all things USF. When you think about it, with this Bulls entire athletic program, it's been pretty emotional the last couple of years. And Joey Johnston's been right there. I mean, he joined us on air on WDAE the day we lost Amir, and his words and my words were both used in the video montage that USF decided to use their digital department, their social media crew. They used the words from our interview, mine and also Joey Johnston, and that'll always be very special to me, and I know special to Joey as well. Jose Fernandez, big news yesterday, leaving USF women's basketball after 25 years to go coach in the WNBA. I mean, you're going to get an opportunity to coach Paige Beckers in Dallas. It's pretty, that's, if you're going to make the jump, that's the jump you make. And Jose's been great. I texted him yesterday. What a great guy. Unbelievable impact. And for a very long time, I mean, women's basketball was the sport that was kind of carrying the water for USF. And he'll never be forgotten, ever, for what his impact has been like here. And then, of course, the huge matchup yesterday, high noon against Memphis. USF going to the state of Tennessee to take on the Tigers. That's going to be a hell of a contest right there. 12:45, what is going on with our Tampa Bay Lightning? Another loss last night, 3-2 against the Chicago Blackhawks. They got a double dip tomorrow and Sunday. It's a rare start tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Make sure you guys get out there early. We have Sticks and Stools at 4 o'clock tomorrow before the game against the Anaheim Ducks. So if you are going to the game tomorrow and you get there a little bit before 4, come check us out right in the Corona section, right out front of the Cigar City Tap Room. If you go a little bit past the Phil Esposito statue, we're right on the right. Come check us out. Sticks and Stools, 4 o'clock tomorrow before the Lightning take on the Ducks. Alex Killorn returns to Benchmark International Arena. And then Sunday, a very tough matchup against the Vegas Golden Knights. They're 5-0-2 on the season. This is a couple of really, really tough games for the Bolts. We'll talk about what's wrong at 12:45 today. 1 o'clock, Greg Auman joins us on the program, Fox Sports, previewing Bucks and Saints and talking all things NFL there. I'll give you what to watch for this weekend. We're going to put them all together. Usually it's off the gridiron. We're going on the gridiron and off the gridiron. Plenty to get into, including a huge match on the pitch in Spain, a UFC card, World Series action tonight. Really, really fun stuff. And then at 1:30, Ask Me Anything. Friday afternoons gets a little wonky there in the 1 o'clock hour. So we started it last week, and we'll see if we can get some more questions this week. Every Friday at 1:30. Ask Me Anything. Sports, life, whatever you want to know. We'll do that at 1:30, and then we'll cut things off at 1:45 because I got practice tonight, got to get a haircut, and then a long day tomorrow. A couple of games early in Davenport, back. Then we got Sticks and Stools. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning, of course, and then we have the Rowdies playing tomorrow night. Leo Fernandez's last home game. Remember, when I do what to watch this weekend, it isn't our Tampa Bay. It's everything outside of the Tampa Bay area, but Rowdies tomorrow night, man, to see if they can keep their season alive. But it'll be the last home game for our guy, Leo Fernandez, and I wouldn't miss that for the world. Again, always want to hear from you guys. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them there at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to chime in via the video chat, whether it's on your phone or whether it's on your laptop, StreamYard.com/SQR4XUV6BZ. I don't know why it's a little funky today with the names. It's got the @ signs. Carlos, what's up, Jay? USF takes a huge step tomorrow with a win at Memphis. I'm with you, buddy. Eddie, good morning to you. Eric Moreno, Vita expected to be questionable and expected to play Sunday. I think he'll be in there. Chris Cole, afternoon to you. You went with Chicago last night. You got to do what you got to do. Our guy Dolan, what's up, Jay and all? Bolts look bad. Nolan hit me up yesterday. I was in the middle of practice, so I was like, dude, I'm going to watch the game when I get home. Robert, your OKC team loves them double OTs, huh? SJ with the 50 burger. It's going to be tough to beat them. It really is. All right, so let's get to this here. I want to play something for you guys today. I want to play something. I don't know if you saw this on my social media accounts. I really hope you do. I really hope you did, but if you haven't, I want to play it for you here. So, a year ago today, we lost a phenomenal member of our community, tremendous basketball coach, a role model, just a guy that you were happy when you were around, as he showed you what morals and values were all about. An amazing father and a husband, and his priorities, like he was just everything. He just showed you the right way to live, man. And every interaction that I had with him, it's just, I can't say enough nice things about Amir Abdur-Rahim. And I remember when the USF won the conference, not the conference, when they clinched the conference and the basketball got through and all the way down, it was a long, heave from the other end of the court. And I caught the basketball and I held on to it. And I wanted to give it to Amir. And shout out to everybody. Holden, there was a bunch of people from USF. And they were like, hey, we'll take the basketball. And I was like, hey, I wanted to give it to Coach Amir. And knowing, like, I wasn't going to fight it. I was going to be like, hey, if you want to take it, whatever. But Holden was like, do you promise you'll give it to Coach Amir? And I go, yes, definitely. I got you. And the fact that he was like, all right, you're good. It meant the world to me. And to be able to present that to him, it meant the world. It really did. And I can't believe we lost him, man. 43 years young. He was such a powerful figure in our community for a guy that wasn't here all that long. But the impact, it just felt like he was here for 5, 10, 15 years. It's insane. And I wanted to share this video with you guys because it meant a lot to me, the way he answered this question, because he didn't like to talk about himself. He didn't. But I had to ask him, like, dude, why? Why has it been so easy for you to be able to wrap your arms around the Tampa Bay community. And he hated talking about himself. And he said, "You're trying to get me beat up. My sister's watching this press conference." But I asked him, I said, like, why? Why is it so easy for you to wrap your arms around the Tampa Bay area? I just wanted to share this with you guys today, because if you want to ask me what Coach Amir Abdur-Rahim was all about, these 2 minutes really, I mean, from his own mouth, from the question that I asked him, I mean, it just doesn't get any better than this.
I know you don't like talking about yourself, but I'm gonna kind of go down that path.
Don't try to get me beat up.
I'm not. I'm the same way. But I sit there and I look at you after the game. You're dancing with the students. We see you on social media. You've ingratiated yourself into this community probably better than any coach in the last decade. Maybe not so much tell us like why you've done that, but what is it about? What have you learned about being in this community where it's not disingenuous? It seems very natural. What is it about this community? What is it about this university that just makes it so easy for you to open yourself up and to kind of wrap yourself around, your arms around everybody?
Well, I'm the son of William Abdur-Rahim, all right, and my mother and my father, they raised us on faith, family, and community, okay? So no matter where I go, I'm gonna make sure I'm part of that community. I'm really blessed to have a great wife, and we try to do things like, and I hate even bringing this up because we don't do it for this, but when you talk about being part of the community, it's like, how do you better your community? You know, how do you make the community better? But I think back to Thanksgiving and had the guys over for Thanksgiving meal, right? A ton of food left over. Well, we took the 3 kids, boxed everything up individually, and we found a shelter to give it to, and they probably had no clue who I was, which was great, but that's what it's about. It's about bettering your community, and my children are gonna grow up with that same sense of community, because again, like, no matter where you go, there's a community, and you should want to be part of it, and you should want to better it. So that's where it comes from, honestly. And I just think our students, I think our staff, man, people, they deserve a human being as a head coach. You know, like, I got a title. I'm a human being, though. I was raised on a certain set of principles and values, and I want to be part of it. I want to be approachable, if that makes sense.
100%.
You know, when he says something to the effect of, "I'm a human being with a title," I don't know if that hits you guys as deeply as it hits me, because for the last 11 years, 12 years that I've been covering sports in the Tampa Bay area, I've been in those press conferences and I've been in those scrums with everybody from Lovie Smith to John Cooper to Joe Madden to Kevin Cash, Jose Fernandez, Jeff Scott, everybody in between. And not everybody's like that, man. There's the barrier. There's just a distance between the media and the coaches. And you understand, right? You don't want to get too close. We're not friends, right? Because we got to keep it 100. We got to keep it honest. Sometimes we have to say some uncomfortable things when the teams aren't playing well and when the coach isn't doing a great job. So it's just normal to have a little bit of a buffer there. But it wasn't like that with Amir. After every press conference, and I said this, he would walk around and shake everybody's hand and thank them for covering the team. Like, that's not normal. But those were the type of things that, like, my dad would always tell me: eye contact, firm handshake, treat people the way you want to be treated. And when I'm listening to Amir Abdur-Rahim during every time he would speak, I felt like I was listening to my dad, like my grandfather. It was like one of those people where you walked away going, man, that was a nice little nugget. I'm going to try to live my life that way. So while I posted a video a couple of days ago about Alex Golesh saying the secret to his success isn't so much him being the football coach, it's him being the leader of young men. Of course, you can say those same things about Amir Abdur-Rahim, and it makes sense why those two guys were so close. So a year to the day, we lost Amir Abdur-Rahim, but we didn't really lose him because he lives on through us forever. And I'm very glad that he could join us today. It's our good pal. Let me make sure that I got this right here. It's our good pal, Joey Johnston, talking all things USF. My friend, thank you so much for joining me today. You joined us on the show on WDAE after we lost Coach Amir. And, I know you, just like myself, both of our words from that day were used in the video during his celebration of life. And I know it's crazy to think it's been a year, because in certain ways it's gone by so fast. In other ways, it seems like it's been forever. But I mean, for a guy like yourself who's been on the call for USF men's basketball, and to be able to speak with him, we will definitely speak about some brighter things and some happier things. But it's been a year since we lost the great Amir Abdur-Rahim. What are your memories of him, and just like how surreal is it that a year has already gone by?
Yeah, a couple of things come to mind. The first was 1 year ago. It was late afternoon. I was driving my son actually to train his German Shepherd, and I got a call from Jim Lighthall, my partner on the basketball broadcast, and he said, "Have you heard anything about Amir?" And I said, "No, what?" And he said that he's passed away. And I just stopped the car, and I just couldn't believe it. That was my introduction to this. So 1 year ago was kind of a crazy day, to say the least. I was thinking about this too. I was 19 years old when I started writing for the Tampa Tribune for the first time. So I've done this a while. Come in contact with. It'd be really interesting to know how many people I've actually spoken to on a professional level for, like you, for any kind of story, and some are just one-offs. You talk to them one time, but I was thinking there's 4 people I consider extremely, extremely special and unique that I've come in contact with, and they are Leroy Selman, Freddie Solomon, Tony Dungy, and Amir Abdur-Rahim. That's my final 4, or if that's the right term, of just these incredible people that defy description in so many ways, that have added so much to not only my life but everyone's life, and people that I would just listen to forever. Like I heard that clip you just played. I could just listen to Amir's press conferences forever, all the knowledge he passed on to all of us. So it was a wonderful year with him. To be part of it, you wished it would last forever. You thought it would last forever, but it didn't. But we were very privileged to have him for a year, and he's one of those guys that, as long as I live, I will remember being around him and everything he taught me.
Yeah, it transcends sports, doesn't it, Joe? I mean, this is a guy that even in his post-game press conferences, it was so little about the game, and it was more about like how the guys persevered and how they battled through, and student athletes and the mindset. And it was different, man. It really, and I remember getting the news too. I was at Amalie Arena at the Lightning game, and I just remember stepping into the stairwell, and I just like, I was shocked. I just, life is so precious, man, at 43 years young. But you're right. I feel like we're better off, knowing and having that time. And, in a weird way, I'm thinking about Coach Brian Hodgson now too, right? I'm thinking about like what his core values are and the way that he's embraced the memory of Amir. Like, I just feel like he's the right guy now to kind of like take that message from Amir, love wins, and kind of go forward and move this, because that's what Amir would want. Amir would say, like, he wouldn't want everybody feeling bad. Like, he's like, hey, we got to go out there and continue to make, Tampa Bay's home for hoops, the Yuengling Center. I feel like in a weird way, like Coach Brian Hodgson's the right guy to kind of take that mantle and continue this trek forward.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how Coach Hodgson has embraced Amir's legacy and everything Amir stood for. I think you're right. I think, he, sometimes it's hard to follow certain coaches or people, come in and do it their way, and just they believe in starting anew and not really looking to the past. But I think Coach Hodgson saw what Amir did with this program and saw it as a template, and saw how he sort of revitalized the program and basketball in this area, and wants to do the same thing. So you don't run from that, you embrace it. And certainly Amir is always going to have a presence in this program. He, it's the Amir Abdur-Rahim student section, for one thing. we'll always have that. And there's a mural that was just placed outside of Gate A at the Yingling Center of Amir. So that will always be greeting fans. So, the past is the past. You move on from it, but certainly you don't forget the memories and the legacy. And, Amir Abdur-Rahim's presence, I think, will always be part of us and this basketball program.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that with football here in a second. But before we do, I want to ask you about Jose Fernandez moving on after 25 years. I mean, I said this before, Joey, when I started the show. I said, for a while there, man, Jose was carrying the water for the athletic program. They just they were in there, man. They were, whether it was the Big East or moving on to the different conferences and winning the conference and playing in the NCAA. For a while, they were the marquee program here in the athletic, for USF athletics. And, man, to see him move on, it hurts. But, man, to get such an opportunity to go to Dallas and coach Paige Beckers, I'm sure he had a conversation or two with Gino Auriemma about that whole thing. But, I mean, I don't know. Surprised to you that he's moving on at this point of his career, or do you think it was the right time?
A little bit surprised. I thought, he would be, as much as anybody, a chance to be a lifer. I know, he loves this USF program. He loves Tampa. He and his wife love their life here. I mean, that's undeniable. But, sometimes you got to go for the new challenge. Sometimes you got to shake it up a little bit. I think that's what he has done. And it's kind of like a now or never thing. If you don't take this chance now, that it never comes around again. So I get it from that standpoint. The other thing I'll say on it is, again, because of my, my longevity or whatever, I can see this through a different lens perhaps. But, I was around USF athletics in the late 80s and early 90s. And the women's basketball team, Jay, was really, really, really bad. I can't describe it to you how poor it was. If you would have gone to me and asked in the 90s, what do you think will happen first? Football winning a national championship or USF women's basketball becoming an annual NCAA team? I would have said, for sure the football, no question, because that's never going to happen for women's basketball. So all the things that have happened for women's basketball, if I think about it, I still can't believe what has happened, how he got this program going in this direction. It would have seemed impossible to me 25 years ago, but he came in and built a great foundation, did things people didn't think were possible, beat a ton of great teams, a ton of so-called Power Four teams. He beat Stanford, the defending national champion, a few years ago. He beat the who's who of women's basketball, knocked on the door a lot in the NCAA. You got to have some luck when it gets to that stage, but could have easily been a Sweet 16 team a couple of those years. So, it's coaches come and go, but there are some programs that, the coach and the program are one. And I think of that. That's how it's going to be with women's basketball. I mean, women's basketball at USF is Jose Fernandez and vice versa, and probably always will be. Certainly a difficult act to follow. We love him. We wish him well in his WNBA career, and we certainly will not forget everything that he has accomplished here in Tampa.
And I love Coach Michelle, so I'm super happy that Coach Michelle Woods-Baxter is going to be taking over. She's been there for over a decade. She is the best. She's awesome. She loves USF, and I'm excited for her. This is a little bit of a different situation, I think, than what we saw when Ben Fletcher took over for Amir Abdur-Rahim, right?
Yeah.
Ben did a good job kind of holding it down and really just an unbelievable human being. But I feel like Coach Michelle, she's been kind of waiting her time. I think this is a really good opportunity for her. I still think she can do a phenomenal job with the Bulls. I'm happy for Jose, man. I really am. I hope he does well. We'll always support him. We'll always have his back. Very excited to see what happens at the next level. Big matchup tomorrow, Joey. USF, Memphis. I mean, this game, I know some people are going to say, because they lost to UAB, it's going to take a little bit of the luster out of it. I don't think it does. I still think this is a big-time matchup for USF. Maybe nationally it does, but for us here locally, we know how good Memphis is. And for USF, this is another opportunity to prove themselves. You go on the road. Sometimes it's on the road when you play games like this. It's who wakes up better. They're going to have to make sure they have a good breakfast, some good coffee, whatever they need. But this is a heck of a challenge for Coach Golish and Byron Brown as they travel and take on one of the better teams in the conference.
Yeah, you're right, Jay. I'll touch on what you just said about the earliness. The reality is we will be on the bus tomorrow at 8 a.m. local time to go to the stadium, arriving at about 8:30 local time to play an 11 o'clock local time game. And this team practices in the morning, so it's not like the body clock is going to be affected that much, but a little bit different than the night game. You get up and play, and maybe that's better than sitting around the hotel or having meetings all day. So we'll see how both teams respond, but certainly it's important to come out with great energy and come out fast. So that'll be something to watch for both teams. Um, Yes, it was kind of a bummer that Memphis lost to UAB. It did take a tiny bit of shine off the game because Memphis was undefeated, but it's still the same Memphis team. It's still the same problems they're going to present, and even more so, maybe they're desperate now. They can't afford another loss, so the urgency is definitely there for Memphis. For USF, of course, going on the road, they've had some success on the road. They won at Florida, won at North Texas, and won a number of road games in Alex Golish's tenure. So going on the road is something they can do. But it's big. I think it will get a lot of attention if USF can go up to Memphis and win. And we're coming to that portion of our year where we're going to start that show on Tuesday or Wednesday or whenever they do it on ESPN, where they start talking about the playoffs and who's in it. And USF beats Memphis. Whenever they have that show, USF's name is going to be up there, and it's right there for them. If they beat Memphis, not a lot of mystery to it. They just got to win games, which is easier said than done. But there's a clear path, to the playoff. There just is. That's the reality of it. But you can't get there without beating Memphis, so you got to do that first. So a big challenge tomorrow. A good team, a good quality opponent on the road. Memphis runs the ball very, very well. They're 15th nationally, so the Bulls have got to play some defense and stop the run. And we don't know who's going to play quarterback for Memphis. They had an injury. So that'll be the big mystery there. But on USF's side, they'll go into it. They'll have a couple of guys down. Chaz Nimrod at wide receiver. Cortavius Norton's still out, obviously, at running back. But the big thing that we've seen from USF the last few weeks, really, really great thing, is all these young guys coming up and playing well, giving great depth at receiver and at running back. So these injuries in past seasons might have been bad stuff, but not great stuff still, but they've got some guys who can play behind him. So I'm confident that even with some key injuries in the special teams, USF's going to have some answers for Memphis tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited about this game tomorrow. I posted a video the other day, Joey. I wanted to get your opinion on it, why it's worked for Coach Alex Golish with USF. And you were there in the press conference and what he was saying. And the thing that really struck me was when he was speaking about Jarvis Lee. And Jarvis is a good football player, man. When you watch him, you're like, this kid is just really – and when Coach Alex Golish says that when he came here, he wouldn't talk to him. When he came here, he was mad at the world. And now he's thriving. And now he's a leader. And now he's going to be successful in whatever he does in his future, whether it's on the football field or off of it. And I feel like that's kind of the recipe for success as a leader, success as a football coach. And that to me is why this whole program is turned around, why it's a top 20 team in the country. I mean, you were there, man. We were there. We were trying to make the best of a bad situation a couple of years ago. And just like, man, you're getting run out of the building. The defense was so poor. Offense was hit or miss. And now you're talking about a team that's in the contention for the college football playoff. And
Crazy.
It doesn't happen overnight, Joey, but from your perspective, what has Alex Golish done to put this team in this position, put this entire program in this position?
Yeah, well, I think you break it down in two ways. Certainly the football side, and he's a brilliant tactician, offensively, particularly the way they play, how fast they play. His ability to call plays at the right time has. The football side is definitely part of it. But I think, as you alluded to, the personal side is another thing that maybe people don't see. This guy is a master at building relationships and getting guys on the right page. Just as an example, this week, he stands at the entrance to the field, the practice field, as they come onto it each day, and he sort of greets everybody. He gets a little dab or a little touch or a little hello to each player. And this week it was where you at? and they all said, "Right here, right now, coach. Right here, right now." And that was, that's a big for him. Is you got to be where your feet are, got to be in the moment. You can't be looking back. You can't be looking ahead. And I've seen it on road trips too. He will be there as we get on the plane, talking to each player individually, and he's really really big on that. In meeting room, same thing. He has to have that little impression, little touch, little something with each player to let him know that he cares, to catch up with him, and if there's something going on with the player, he's going to want to get to it, want to solve it. So the relationship part, you can't underestimate that. And every kid on the team will tell you that this guy brings incredible energy every day, that he knows what's going on in their life, he cares what's going on in their life. So that side of it, in addition to the football, has made this a pretty special coach.
Yeah, I love what you say there, because in my coaching, I try to take something from everybody, and that's one of the things that I learned very early on, is like being able to relate to every single player in some form or fashion. I love learning, about, one of my kids yesterday, he's in the band, and I was like, yeah, I was in the band, and they were like, and his parents are like, what? And it was just another thing. Another one of my kids plays basketball, and his parents have had people tell them, no, you got to focus. I'm like, he's 13, play different sports. And the fact that I am so big and such a proponent of going to play different sports, they're just like, they're on my side. You know what I mean? Like they get it. Like they know that I have the kid's best, interest in mind. Joey, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you about Jim Lauk as well. Announces his retirement. You've worked with him so closely over the years. What can you say about his impact for USF athletics?
Yeah, before I do that, I want to ask you one question. What instrument did you play in the band?
I played the trombone. Started in 4th grade. I went all the way up to 11th grade, did marching band. And then in 12th grade, they needed a volunteer for the tuba or the sousaphone for marching band. And I was like, I'll do it. They're like, you're a senior, you don't have to do it. I was like, I don't really care. I'll do it. So I did it, and I got straight A's for the rest of the year. I didn't have to test or anything because I helped out the band teacher. But it was cool, man. Because up in New York, it wasn't one or the other. It wasn't one of those things where, like, a lot of times down here in Florida, like if you're in the band, you can't play sports. Yes. Not for us. Band was actually a class during school. So we did band second period, but I could still play travel hockey. I could still play baseball. I could still have a job. So it was cool. Like a lot of it wasn't like, oh, you're a band geek or anything. It was like we had half of the baseball team, the hockey team. We had some of the football players. Like it was cool, nice. Man. It was a lot of fun. Were you ever in the band, Joey?
I was not. I did take piano lessons later in my life, and I did some recitals, and I was the oldest one in the recital. I have a photo of me holding my trophy at my recital with all these 10-year-olds, and one of them invited me to his pool party. Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I admire anybody who can play a musical instrument, and I think it's cool to be that guy where you walk in, you play the piano or you play the saxophone, and that's a cool thing. And I still would like to pick back up to the piano. I did it and then got away from it, but I would like to get it back. Anyway,
hold on. I always wanted to be that guy that walked into the hotel and the piano's there and just be able to sit down and tickle the ivories a little bit.
Absolutely.
Like, somebody's got a guitar here. Let me play Hotel California or something like that. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
That is the coolest. That is the coolest. But anyway, on to Jim Lauk. So Jim Lauk.
Jim Lauk is all segues.
Yes. Like Jose Fernandez, obviously Jim Lauk is a personification of USF athletics. He's been around longer than anybody can imagine. I do remember when he came, because I was here, but he has stood the test of time. His longevity is unbelievable. And what can you say about a guy who, over the 29-year history of USF football, he's done every single game, not missed one. So that is something pretty remarkable. He is a true professional. He is always prepared. He will never be unprepared. That is, I can promise you that. And he will never be, for one odd reason, I got to the stadium before him last week. That's never happened before, and I don't think it ever will happen again. Jim Lauk is the guy who's there when the guy's opening the stadium. He's that guy waiting. But yeah, what a wonderful career he's had. wish him all the best as he goes on with his family and life, and he'll still be broadcasting here and there, of course. But and I've said this many times. I think it'd be great if USF would win a conference title for him. This year. That'd be a great way to send him out to be raising a trophy, and I couldn't think of a better way for Jim Lauk to be sent out as USF play-by-play man.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I remember he gave me my first crack at broadcasting USF baseball. And, I asked a lot of the different broadcasters in town. I went to Dave Mishkin and Rich Hollenberg. And, and the one thing that really stood with me was Dave Mishkin going, 2 P's, pronunciation, make sure you get the names right, and be prepared. And after the first broadcast, Jim Lauk looks to me, he goes, "You did a great job for your first time, man." He's like, "Well done. You were very prepared." And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I was so happy about that. And to be able to get that kind of kudos from a guy that's been doing it for so long really means a lot, and a heck of a guy. And I'm with you, buddy. Let's get him.
You think you can roll out of bed and just start talking, which I guess you can, and some people actually do. But you do that long enough, you're going to be exposed if you don't prepare and you don't, put your time in. Those kind of things filter into a broadcast eventually. They just do. And you know that, if you try to wing it, it's gonna get you, and you're not gonna be at your top of your game. So yeah, Jim Lauk he knows Memphis upside and outside, I'm sure, right now, and he's ready for tomorrow's game, which will be an early one, 11 a.m. and that'll be good because I definitely agree with Jim on this. It'll be great, not so great to start at 11 a.m., but great that we'll be home at a reasonable hour. Not North Texas, we were rolling in at 4:15 a.m. on the plane. That wasn't the most fun deal in the world, but yes, an early start means an early arrival to Tampa, and hopefully we'll be coming back with a win tomorrow for the Bulls.
You got that right. One of the voices and one of our most dedicated people we can follow and read about all things USF. It's our good pal, Joey Johnston. Joey, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Safe travels to Memphis. Bring home a W, and I'll see you soon, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. Joey Johnston doesn't get much better than that, man. You want to talk about historian for Tampa Bay sports? If I need to know something about Tampa Bay sports, he is the first person every single time. I just said that to somebody a couple weeks ago. They were like, "Oh, the historian, I would call this guy." I go, "Nope, that's not it." They were like, "Who?" I was like, "Joey Johnston." And the person goes, "Shit, you're right." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Joey's the guy." I'm texting him. I'm calling him. If I need something verified in Tampa Bay sports, the first person I call, Joey Johnston. No doubt about it. He is the man. And great that we could touch on a multitude of these topics for USF. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy to think that it's a year since we lost Amir. And I keep saying lost, but we never lose him. But I miss you, buddy. I really do. Really, really do. What's going on, Bard Hill? Sergio, it's a Football Friday here on the program. Benny, anyone could play guitar. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. What about Rolly, man? Rolly, great USF content. All those bolts. What is going on? My Golden State Warriors got a second win. Steph Curry looks amaze balls. Karen Clemente, we will get there soon. We will get there soon. Unbelievable. All right. So Coach Todd Bowles is speaking now. So we'll give you some of the info before we talk some Tampa Bay Lightning stuff. When you look at what's going on and who is going to be out for Sunday, Todd Bowles says that Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin Jr., Hassan Reddick, and Luke Haggard out for Sunday. Vita Vea is questionable. So, not much of a surprise. I mean, knowing that Bucky and Chris have been out. Hassan, from what we've heard all week long, it didn't seem like he was going to be in there. Luke Haggard, obviously some of that depth on the offensive line. Vita, I mean, you look at it, if it's a pain management type thing, can he play through it this Sunday? Do you manage his snaps? And then obviously have the bye next week. But again, going into what I was saying earlier this week, it'd be nice if you had a guy like Calais Campbell in there to take some of the pressure and some of the heat off of Vita Vea and that defensive line. This is a big game for the Buccaneers. Let's not get it twisted. Because when you look at the situation, it's a rivalry game. This is a game You don't think that the Saints want to go out and try to win this game and spoil the Buccaneers kind of middle of the season here? They know the Bucs are a little bit of a wounded dog right here. A wounded duck, wounded dog, wounded animal, whatever. Insert random wounded animal here. That's what the Bucs are right now. A little bit. Not a lot, a little bit, because they are still 5-2. But I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, this will be a long 2 weeks if they don't win this game against New Orleans. This will be a long 10 days of programming here if they don't win this game against the 1-6 Saints. And don't tell me that it's impossible, because we've seen this all across sports. Division rivals. Oh, on paper, the game's not played on paper. Game is played on the football field. New Orleans is home. They already have one win at home against the Giants team that I know the Giants are lowly, right? But it was after the Giants won a game, so they were feeling pretty good about themselves. The Bucs have to play a whole heck of a lot better than they did against Detroit. You got to get there with Baker, and Baker's been talking about it all week, about how this is a dirty team and about how they do some dirty things. Like, whether you want to admit it or not, it's a fact. They're habitual line steppers, as Charlie Murphy would say. So if you're the Bucs, you cannot get caught off guard. Not at all. You have to be ready. You have to match that intensity. These are professional athletes, and they're going to want to spoil and upset the apple cart here. You want to be able to go into this bye at 6-2. Don't take it for granted. I'm telling you, this is a huge game for the Buccaneers. Huge. Because you got a bye, and then you look at the next 3 games coming out of the bye. Not easy. The first game out of the bye is a home matchup with the Patriots. And I'll tell you what, when you looked at this schedule initially, you looked at that schedule and you're like, all right, that should be a win for the Bucs. This is a really, really good team. Maybe not a good team, but this is a team that's on the rise. They're well coached. Drake May, a lot of athleticism. That's not a game that I'm writing and I'm saying, oh, that's a clear-cut win for the Bucs. And then the next 2 on the road in Buffalo against the Bills, then on the road in LA against the Rams on Sunday Night Football. Guys, I mean, they're not gimmies. They're not gimmies. So those are going to be 2 tough matchups, and I don't care what they're going to be good games. You know it's going to be a tough matchup, and you also don't know what the roster is going to look like. After that, you got Cardinals, Saints, Falcons, 3 home games. Then on the road to Carolina. Listen, they're playing some good ball. On the road to Miami, and then home to Carolina. So, yes, down the stretch, it's not as bad as the next 3 weeks, but, man, it is going to be a lot different looking at this Buccaneers team if they're going into the bye at 6-2 than if they're going into the bye at 5-3. And then, Carolina, they're only 1 game back. Not many people are talking about that. They're only 1 game back. I've been saying Dave Canales, better head coach than an offensive coordinator. He's proven it. He's got those guys ready. And listen, they have their faults. They have their warts, but they play hard. They really do. You can't fault them. In a weird way, I trust him more as a head coach than I do Raheem Morris. Is that weird? I think it is. Let's go to Eric Moreno real quick. What's up, pal? How are you?
What's going on? Hey, are you inclined to blitz more since Reddick is out against Saints?
No, I don't think. The one thing we know about Todd Bowles is he doesn't change a lot based on personnel that are not in there.
Yeah.
If anything, he's going to maybe be a little bit more cautious and not blitz as much. But I mean, for me, I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Guys are going to have to step up, whether that's a Marquise Watts, whether that's a Mo Kamara, if you call him up from the practice squad. But this is a big game.
Yeah.
Anthony Nelson, too. Give me a score prediction, buddy.
24-14. Tampa.
14 bucks. All right, buddy. All right. Have a good weekend, my brother. Thank you.
Good Bucks.
The man, Eric Moreno. We always appreciate his phone call. Part of the JR's wrecking crew. E. Moreno, our guy. Hope Jimmy is happy with his joy over there. Let's see. Karen Clemente, our Tampa sports team's injuries. You got that right. Is this when the Yaya takeover starts? Eddie wants to know. This is a good point. A good point. Could this be the time? I like that. Opportunities for guys to step up. Dolan, yeah, the Bucks are going to get kicked in the ass if they're not ready. You're right, man. It's not an easy place to play. They're a division rival. We got to go in there and punch these mother effers right in the face. Yeah. There's no easy wins in the NFL, no matter what the opponent's record is. Right. Carolina's tough coming up. 27-14, Eddie says, in that matchup. I don't disagree with you at all. We'll talk some more Buccaneers with our guy Greg Auman at 1 o'clock. But I want to talk some Lightning hockey here. Watching this game last night back, watching some of the highlights again this morning. Something is off with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Excuse me, Tampa Bay Lightning team. Something is wrong with this Tampa Bay Lightning team. And it's a little bit of everything. It really is. I look at one of the things right off the rip, and I know it's not the end-all, be-all, but Braden Point's on -9. Nikita Kucherov's on -8. You can't win like that. You have a guy in Brandon Hagel who was one of the best players in all of hockey last year. I don't think that's hyperbole. He really was. Brandon Hagel through 7 games. Brandon Hagel through 7 games is a -5 and has 1 point. This is a top 6 forward on a high-scoring team. He's got just as many points as Eric Chernak, Connor Geekie. He's got less points than Yanni Gord and J.J. Moser. He's got 2 less points than Max Crozier, who hasn't even played in a week. There is something fundamentally off with this Tampa Bay Lightning team. And I it's weird to me because I'm watching some of the backlash of everything. And I'm going to break some things down for you right here because I'm not waiting for somebody else to tell me what's going on with the Lightning. I'm just using my eyes. I feel like a lot of people are getting on Emil Lilleberg for his play. And when things like this happen, I often try to go on the other side and like, guys, it's not as bad. It is as bad as it is. It is. I like Lilleberg. I think the kid's got potential. I think it takes a while. For you to kind of find yourself in the National Hockey League, especially as a defenseman, especially as a young defenseman. I mean, Victor Hedman wasn't Victor Hedman when he first started. Mikhail Sergachev was the guy that was on the third line. Remember, it takes time. But I worry that Emil Lilleberg and what happened last year, by not building on the relationship that he had with Max Crozier last year, I think that really hurt his development. And now he's a guy that takes way too many penalties. And whether it's advanced metrics or just basic plus minus or basic penalty minutes, this guy is killing the Tampa Bay Lightning right now. He's a guy that needs to sit or he's not going to get sent down. Because remember, people say, oh, send him down. When you send guys down, you got to send them through waivers. And that is a scary, scary proposition because the talent is there. We've seen it at times, especially when he's being aggressive and playing a physical game. The reason why one of the reasons why Connor Geekie got sent down is because he could pass through waivers. We didn't have to go through waivers because he was so young. But he needs to sit. I think Lilleberg needs to sit and chill and watch a little bit and then get back in the lineup and see if they can go from there. Because it has not worked. It is not good. He's not playing well at all. He's part of the problem right now. And to keep running him out there at this age, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mentioned Brandon Hagel. That's got to be better. You got to step up. I mean, you could sense the frustration. But you also don't know, like, are there after effects, lingering effects from the injury from last year, from the hit from Ekblad? Guys, Hagel's a different cat again, I remember his first time getting interviewed when he got traded from the Blackhawks, and he looked like it was a whirlwind. The guy didn't know which way was up. And he's a quieter guy. You know, he's been very vocal about some of the things that, you know, he's had, you know, mental health issues in his family. Like, and I'm not saying this to denigrate him in any way. I hope nobody's taking it that way. But that's a lot to compartmentalize. That's a lot to think about. And then when you deal with the head injury and, you know, the way that he was speaking in his, you know, exit interviews last year, like it was dark, man. It was dark. Like you felt for the guy. Like it was heavy. It was a very tense discussion. And it's hard not to like put those two things together. Like you're hoping, because I've had concussions, and I remember, you know, like you could just start crying out of nowhere. Like there's a lot of brain injuries, man, and mental health. Like that's a big freaking deal. I don't take that lightly at all. And I hope it has nothing to do with that, but you don't know. I want him to be a healthy human being first and foremost before a contributing member of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And when I bring this up to say, I just hope he's taking care of himself. I really do, because he's just such a great guy, and he works his ass off. And I just hope that, just like a multitude of reasons, like first and foremost, like I hope that he's healthy. Secondly, like I hope he's not letting this negative or his lack of scoring like impact him off the ice, right? And then you hope that that's not contributing to his, you know, poor play. I just hope he bounces back and gets out of it, because they need him, man. They do need him. But I just want him to be happy. I want him to be healthy. Is Vasi as sharp as we've seen? No. Is Hedman as sharp as we've seen? No. You know, I look at it too. Remember why I was so bullish on the Buccaneers? Because I thought incrementally a percent here, a percent here, a percent here. I thought that you add all those percentages, especially up on the defensive side of the ball. You get Reddick, you get guys back from injury, you invest the draft picks. Todd Bowles a more year with some of these guys. Like I thought naturally they were going to be better. I think the flip side is like that for the Lightning. Guys get a little bit older. Hetty gets a little bit older. Cooch gets a little bit older. Fassi gets a little bit older. Like, you know, I think there was enough percentages going in the wrong direction why this type of thing isn't as surprising to some, maybe as to others. And, you know, I look at, you know, I mentioned Point and his lack of production and Kucherov, right? Listen, you know, when you talk about Kucherov, it's weird how people, like, you can say stuff about his game and then people will say, well, he had all these points and, you know, you're forgetting about this. I'm not forgetting about anything. I've defended this guy to the high heavens, but not many people call him out when he's not playing all that well, which is the nature of the beast. He doesn't always hustle back into the zone. He gives up the puck far too easily. I mean, he's the guy that gave up the puck last night in the first period that gave up a golden scoring chance. Vazzy bailed him out. And then he's the guy that turned the puck over in the zone. And the Blackhawks went back the other way and scored the game-winning goal. It's why I ask a guy like Eric Erlinson from LightningInsider.com if he's worried about how Kucherov's game is going to age. Because it's not good. And I wouldn't be surprised that if it falls and if it just falls off a cliff. He goes from being one of the best players in the league to just because he works hard on his individual stuff against the wall in the offensive zone, but way too many giveaways. He's never going to kill penalties for you. Defensively, he's smart when he's coming back and lifting the stick and doing things like that. But as far as positionally, as far as being a guy that's going to go in there and, you know, forecheck and use the body, like that's just not his game. And we know how he is, you know, as far as like dealing with the media, but I'm not talking about that type of stuff. I'm just talking about the impact that he's had on the game. And there's been a lot of negatives this year. He's part of the reason, right? I mean, you're going to get a lot of the praise and you're going to get a lot of the adulation when you do well. But I mean, when your team is as bad as it is right now, you got to wear some of that. I see a lot of people talking about like, oh, stick with the process over result, blah, 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 blah. Are you not watching the game? Are you watching? All you're doing is reiterating shit that you've heard from John Cooper. Process over result, process over outcome, stick with the process. I get it. You know who says stuff like that, though? People that are losing. Teams that are losing. Are you really happy with the process? Are you watching these games? Are you watching Hedman turn the puck over? Are you watching Hedman losing guys in front of the net? Are you watching Kucherov turning the puck over? Are you watching Lilleberg taking penalties? Are you watching this stuff? Are you watching Hagel not score? Are you watching Gonsalves not really, playing as a top six forward, right? He's trying, but is he a top six forward? They're trying to figure that out. But I just mentioned all those guys and the minus for a guy like Braden Point. That's all process stuff. And you're going to sit there and tell me the process is good? Not from what I'm watching. The process needs to improve. It's funny going into this offseason, everybody was like optimistic and going into the season. You guys know I'm as real as it gets when it comes to this team. Probably realer than anybody. I wasn't too optimistic that they closed the gap to Florida. I was optimistic in the preseason because there were certain things that I really liked, being able to get different bodies in there. You see Dominic James. I like that. Putting different bodies in there. Let's see if you can get a spark. Let's see if you can push. I like that part of it. That made me feel better. But when you listen to Andrei Vasilevsky in his exit interview last year, I thought he was the one guy. We're not consistent enough. You guys tell me, you watching these games. Are you really watching them? Do you like the process? Are they playing consistent hockey? I'm not seeing that. Are you? Honestly? I'm not saying the season's over. I'm not saying that they're screwed. I'm not saying that they're not going to fix it. But if you're watching these games and you're telling me that the process is right, you might need to get your freaking head examined. That's not what I'm seeing. And they better fix it quick because you're playing Anaheim tomorrow, and they're going to want to try to win this game for Killorn. They got Trouba, they got Kreider, they got Leo Carlson. There's some good players on that team. They're playing good hockey. And then Sunday you play Vegas, one of the best teams in the game. Eichel, Marner, Stone, they're legit. Legit. Coach Cassidy, it's crazy. Now, and I want to answer this quick. Shout out to our guy Hammer. Love you, buddy. Hope you're well. You have a good weekend. Great weekend as well. Hammer, make sure you go check our guys. Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC, 813-244-0956 for all your residential and commercial needs. You want to go with people that you trust? Boom. Honest Hammer's the way. USF grad too. You gotta love him. Love you, buddy. Happy anniversary again. We're saying it all week. But I saw a thing from, Empty Netters talking about John Cooper and him getting fired. I don't know if this is on Cooper. I don't love the construction of this roster. Last year, Connor Sheary, Cam Atkinson, you still had Nick Perbix on the team. What are you doing with Darren Radish? Why didn't Max Crozier play more last year? Right? You go out and get Pontus Holmberg. You have a guy like Curtis Douglas that's starting on opening night. You got him a week before the season started when you have Stahoviak, you have Dominic Jr., you have Finley, you have Connor Geeky, you have Dylan Duke, and you're starting that guy? Yeah, the fight was fun, but really? To me, it's good to be tough, but part of the reason why the Panthers are so good, they don't need a designated scrapper. Their whole team is freaking tough. We didn't need that when we won the Cups 2 years in a row. You didn't need a designated scrapper. And Maroon's not a fighter. Even though he fought, he's not a fighter. He wasn't. He did it because that was his role, but he was a player as a fourth-line guy. He played on the second power play unit. He was a guy on the fourth line that would grind and would forecheck. You remember that? With Belmar and with Ross Colton and the crew. To have Scott Sabrin and to have Douglas on the team, what are we doing? Great story. Don't get me wrong. This team needs to be skilled. This team needs to have better players. Now, when Nick Paul comes back, does things change? I sure as hell hope so. It's got to be better than that. But they need to, get things together here. I still don't understand why Connor Kiki got sent down. He needs to play. You saw it in Washington. He played a couple of shifts of Point and Kucherov. I thought that was the best line during that little 7 or 8 minute period. And then he gets sent down a week or two later. I don't get it. Hopefully when Nick Paul gets back, you got to play the best guys on your team. Stahoviak, get him up, whatever. Get these guys up. You got to find the right mix. It's not over. They're not out of it. But like they say, you can't make the playoffs in October, but you can sure miss them if you get behind the 8 ball too much. I'm not putting this on Cooper. But the guys have to step up. The players. There's only so much that Coop can do with the guys that he has. Cooch has got to step up. Hedman's got to step up. Point, Vassy, Hagel, everybody. And if they don't get the job done, don't be surprised if they make a move in the middle of the season. That could be what the doctor ordered. Sometimes you need to shake it up. I always remember the 94 Rangers, trading certain guys to bring them in. Like, I like things like that, man. Comfort is a tough thing because you want guys to be comfortable to be able to perform at a high level. But if you get too comfortable, man, you get complacent, you're resting on your laurels. There's got to be some sense of urgency as well. All right, let's get back and talk some Buccaneer football with our guy, Greg Auman from Fox Sports. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Good to be on with you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man. I feel like I got 2 of the Tampa Bay historians. Had Joey Johnston on before, and now with you. And you guys are 2 guys. If I have a question about Tampa Bay sports, you're definitely 2 of the guys that I'm going to be texting. What do we now? I was just saying a little while before we heard from Todd Bowles about who's going to be out this weekend. Any surprise with who won't be suiting up for the Saints?
Nothing too much. We kind of knew early in the week that Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving were out, and that Hassan Reddick was out. Those are the big names. Luke Haggard, not necessarily one we expected, but Luke, who had hurt his shoulder and missed last week's game, was back at practice, but they're going to hold him out for another week. So that's it. Just the 3 big ones and Luke Haggard.
Concern about the game on Sunday against New Orleans?
Not very much.
Okay.
I think it's one of those where I think because it's almost like the opposite of a trap game because it's before a bye week.
Right.
And I think they've done so well to get to 5-2 that I think they realize you don't want to mess this up. Like you want to have they win here. Again, they lost in Detroit, don't get me wrong, but I think there's still that sense of like, wow, they pushed through tougher half of their schedule, all the injuries they had to endure. 6-2 is a good record for what they've been through. They don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What were your initial thoughts? I was watching the game with Ian the other day, and just to see Mike Evans go down, to me, I was more just your heart goes out to the guy, man. It really does to be able to see that go down. And, as much as some people will talk about the record and it's not as important. The record was important. You don't just do what happened, at the end of last year and the team all be on. And you were there. You heard the rumble, like in the bill. It was crazy how loud it was for what many could consider a meaningless reception, but it gave him the record. He ran off the field. Just take, us through your thoughts on the whole Mike Evans situation.
Yeah, like to go back to the end of last year, like they had when the Bucs did their big 50th thing and they had a whole bunch of alums in, they had a really cool thing with guys talking about that moment. And there's, they needed to win. They still were trying to clinch a postseason berth at that point. And it's one of those where they, if they don't win, it gets complicated. And they get that touchdown with whatever, like a minute left, and Mike's at 995. And there's this hush where, like, ordinarily you get a touchdown to go ahead with a minute left and clinch a playoff berth. It'd be unabashed joy. The stadium would go crazy. And I think a lot of people are like, oh no, like, I might not get the ball again. And so it's this weird, like, again, like everybody wanted 2 things in that game: Bucs to clinch a division title and Mike Evans to get 1,000. And it wasn't necessarily in that order.
Right.
So to see him get it, and then it was really cool in that for them to make the decision, like if they had thrown a pick in that, it could have, really gone famously bad. So the idea that Bowles would sign off on it and they'd come up a play call to get Mike to 1,000 was one of the, it's neat. Like to talk to people who have been around this team for a long time. That's like the coolest moment they'll point to. More so than, again, it's not like a Rondé pick 6 in Philadelphia to go to the Super Bowl, but as regular season moments go, it's really cool. So yes, to get back to Monday night, to see it happen I mean, it's been remarkable that Mike has been able to push through a lot of injuries to get this streak and to go 11 years. And you only get that streak by largely avoiding major injuries. So Mike's been blessed for 11 years to have not dealt with this. And yet, even now, to see him get it in year 12, your heart breaks for him, because it's cool to think about how much it meant to him and how much, as a result, it meant to everyone around him. And that was Bruce when he was here. That's Bowles. That's Baker. Every receiver. Fans that, I mean, every year you get to the point where it's like, how many yards does Mike need over the next 3 games? 68.5 yards. And then when he got it, I mean, there were 4 or 5 years along the way. I've been there for all these years where he got it by like 1,006 yards or 1,005 yards. It's not like he always got 1,400.
Right.
But the way it always came through for him was really cool. And I think, again, Mike has a lot of easy things you can point to for why he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But that streak and the consistency and just the every year you knew you were getting 1,000 yards, nobody else can say that in their NFL career, at least not to start the first 11. And the only guy that can say it, period, is Jerry Rice. So anytime you're in the same room with that guy, you're doing okay.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A lot has been made this week about the disdain between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. I knew these teams didn't like each other, but Greg, it seemed to be, forget an underlying narrative. This was like on the top of the header here.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jason Light has said it. Baker Mayfield has said it, that he hates the Saints. And then, Baker's asked on the podium Wednesday, like, hey, you made a comment on a podcast about how you hate the Saints. Like, why is that? And Baker, I mean, again, like most quarterbacks are like, I don't know if I would say hate. There are a lot of teams you don't like. It's a rivalry. No, Baker's like, yeah, well, they're not exactly clean. And, like, right there. And there's back and forth. Again, like this, when I think about, again, like, and the Saints correctly will tell you, the Saints and Falcons have been rivals longer. They'll cite the Falcons as their rival. But I think the Bucs, because there's been so much nastiness, you have to put this at the top of their list, because it's Mike Evans and Marshawn and multiple in-game fights that have led to suspensions. It's Cam Jordan jawing with anybody that will come up. I mean, it's like Donovan Smith got his extension.
Yep, I remember
how great that is. And then it's just, there's been some really key things. I mean, they ended Drew Brees' career on his home field, putting that team down in a year they won the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it's just nastiness both ways. So even though Marshawn's gone, even though Mike's not playing, a lot of the key figures in this back and forth, Jameis on both sides of the rivalry, though they're all moved on, there's going to be a lot of talk on the field. And there's going to be, I would say, a decent chance of chippiness during the game, whether it's a close game or a lopsided game. It's just, and it also, I mean, Bucs have won 5 of 6 now in this series. Like, you don't realize they've kind of owned them of late. There was a while where that was the one team they couldn't, nobody had solved Tom Brady better than Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is gone now. Yeah, it's. I wish I was there in New Orleans. It's a fun rivalry, back and forth, fun, but not necessarily even amicably fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then Cam Jordan, every single time he gets an opportunity, talks about the Bucs for some reason. It seems like he's on a random podcast. He talks more about the Bucs than he does about the Saints. What do you do with the pass rush now? Hassan Reddick's out. Do we see Kamara at all? Are you banking on Marquise Watts? Are we going to see something from Chris Braswell? Does this mean more snaps for a guy like Anthony Nelson? Yaya Diaby obviously has to step up. What do you make of the pass rush with Reddick being out, Greg?
Yeah, it's honestly, it's all those things. I mean, it definitely starts. Yaya has to be, he's going to be everybody's focus now. So, I mean, he's had 3 sacks in the last 2 games. He's starting to really get to the quarterback, but it'll be harder to do it without Reddick on the other side. Anthony Nelson, probably the guy to get the most snaps. I think he's been good for so long, and people want great there, so it's tough. This is definitely an opportunity here. And I talked to Chris Braswell like 2 days ago, and I mean, his reps are going to double. He's going to have a lot more opportunity. So if you're somebody that gets into a rhythm and gets to get a feel for a tackle, he can do that in a way he really hasn't had. He's been like a 10 to 15 snap a guy player in these first 7 games. The names that people don't know, as you mentioned, Marquise Watts, again, has been up every week, has not had a defensive snap all season. So he's only been a special teams guy. You go back to summer, and outside linebacker was a position they talked about loving their depth.
Yeah.
And they really haven't shown that. They've loved their 2 starters and have played those 2 a lot. So Watts gets a chance to shine. When we talked to Larry Foote yesterday, he said he's looking forward to seeing Mo Kamara on Sunday. Muhammad Kamara is a guy who was Miami for 2 years. Promising guy, looks the part. Will probably get a chance. It looks like he's going to get elevated. Again, if you're the 4th or 5th outside linebacker in this defense, that's 10 snaps. That's maybe more if they get a lead and they feel more comfortable treating their depth. They don't go to the bench much, but they need. It's one of those where to get to Rattler, to throw him off his game. He's a guy that just threw 3 picks last week, so I think there's an opportunity to kind of get him out of his comfort zone. Saints are missing their starting center, so I almost think the best pressure is going to come from the interior rather than the outside. But sometimes it's kind of one flushes the quarterback to the other. So I think they should be able to get to him, and they want to. I mean, you don't want to give them time. Olave and Shaheed are both really good deep threat receivers. You don't want to give them time to get past the corners and beat you deep.
No doubt about it. Trade deadline coming up. When's the date of the trade deadline?
I think it's November 4th. I think it's
4th?
basically a week from Tuesday, I think.
I know the Bucs aren't usually that team. I'm not that fantasy football guy. I just feel like this could be that year, maybe. Like I say that every year, but I'm the guy that MLB, NHL, NBA trade deadline. Give me it all. I want to, left-handed middle reliever for cash considerations. Right. I want 3 NBA guys for 2 NBA guys. I want to see guys changing dugouts like Jose Caballero. I know the NFL's not like that, but if the Bucs are the Bucs in position to make a move, and what position do you think that they would target if they did?
Yeah, the only 2 that really make sense. I think, again, like the same thing we say every year. Jason Light loves his draft picks, doesn't want to give them up. We sit here and we say, like, oh, man, they could get this guy for a 5, right? Zion McCollum's a 5.
Yeah,
okay? Right? It's like, oh, man, what if we just give him like a 7th-round pick to get this guy? Like, Tez Johnson's a 7. They like that guy. They don't want to give up the chance to find that guy. So I do think the Reddick injury, they were already down an outside linebacker when David Walker got hurt. So now to be down 2, we don't know how long. Reddick could be back after the bye. He could be back in the playoffs. I don't know when he's going to be back. They do. So I think this is a week where you can see what Watts can do, what Kamara can do. And if you don't like the results without Reddick, you do have a chance to go out and get somebody. And I think they could do it. Again, they're not going to get Max Crosby. They're not going to get Trey Hendrickson. They're not going to add a Pro Bowl defensive end, outside linebacker. But I do think there are guys like Jermaine Johnson and Jalen Phillips in Miami who could be got for a 3rd-day pick. Jalen Phillips is a guy where you might end up getting a 4 back from him if he leaves to go somewhere else as a comp pick. So that wouldn't surprise me. Linebacker, if again, they've been a very patient defense trying to get Servacio Dennis to do the right things. And he's made progress, but he's also had some persistent problems. So if they are not sold on him as the answer, Jordan Brooks with the Dolphins is a guy who leads the NFL in tackles right now, is probably available and at a reasonable price to be your guy in 26. Linebacker is a position where they have to be accounting for Levante David's retirement soon and with a priority. So edge and inside linebacker are the 2 spots where, again, at a modest cost, it wouldn't surprise me if Jason Light makes a move for a 6 or something like that to get somebody that helps them. Maybe just a depth piece. It's one of those where I can see them doing something, but not anything as drastic as fans want with Max Crosby and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Jordan Brooks, fantastic in Seattle too before he got hurt, taking over for Bobby Wagner, going sideline to sideline. I've been saying Calais Campbell. I feel like it's a guy in the locker room is a phenomenal guy. He can help against the run. He's got 3 sacks this year. He's only going to play 50%. He's 39, but he loves Todd Bowles. And, you're talking about one of the best men in the National Football League. So
absolutely.
Why not? Before I let you go, nothing with receiver then? What do you think we do here? How do you think that whole thing shakes out?
I don't think so. I get why people want that. It's people that want to, go get Trey Palmer, go get Rakim Jarrett, go get who just
Tyler
came
Lockett.
from Tyler Lockett from Tennessee, right? Who was here for joint practices. They just saw him. I don't think so right now. I think even though we don't know when Godwin are coming back and when McMillan's coming back, when Mike is coming back, there's a world where all 3 of those guys are back when it means the most. And any move they make to get a receiver now is a guy that like might not even dress when all of them. If you have all those guys and Ibuka and Shep, I mean, obviously they would have an embarrassment of riches to get all those guys healthy again, given how well they've done with only some or none of them at points this year. So I get that. I think what they're going to do at receiver is what they just did. They just signed a guy named Brandon Johnson, who, again, was with the Broncos, had 4 touchdowns 2 years ago, is kind of a more experienced practice squad type that they'd add. I think that's it. I think they're trusting that at some point these 3 injured receivers are going to come back and be able to help them down the stretch.
Greg, what do you have up on Fox Sports now, buddy?
I'm excited. It's not up right now, but I'm doing a story on Ohio State receivers around the NFL. I got Ibuka today. I talked to Jackson Smith-Njigba. Talked to Chris Olave. Talked to Terry McLaurin.
Garrett Wilson,
receivers coach. So doing a story on just what I think is probably the best college position group match in the NFL, and those guys and how it all came together and how tight they are and all that kind of stuff.
Wide receiver, you just don't show it to Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. They might have something to say about it.
Yeah, that's the only one I think that can stake a claim to it right now. And now that kind of like, with Beckham not being Beckham anymore,
right?
I don't think they have the depth that Buckeyes have for across the league, just playmakers everywhere.
Yeah, no Beckham, no Jarvis Landry. That definitely hurts. At Greg Auman on all social media platforms, Fox Sports. Greg, you're the best. Thanks, pal. Have a great rest of your weekend. Talk soon.
Anytime, man. Good to see you, Jay.
Thanks, buddy. The man, Greg Auman. Great stuff as always. Robert Cochran in the house. I miss Coach AR. Great seeing CY score. Great point, man. Chris Youngblood scoring his first NBA points last night, the day before we lost Amir Abdur-Rahim. Wow. 38-20 tomorrow. Book it. Robert, you've been on point, buddy. He's been on point. I saw the line going up from 4.5 to 7.5. It seems like the bookies and everybody out there, they're just, they're looking, they seem like they're believing what the Bulls are doing. All right. So, okay, guys. What to watch this weekend? My top things that you must see. And again, we're not talking about the Bucks and the Saints. We're not talking about the Lightning and their matchups. Excuse me. Bucks and Saints on Sunday in New Orleans at 1:00. We got the Lightning with a 5:00 face-off on Saturday against the Ducks, Sunday against the Golden Knights. Make sure at 4:00 tomorrow on YouTube. If you're not there, check us out, Sticks and Stools, or in person. If you're outside of Benchmark International Arena, come on out and check us out, man. Really, really good stuff there. And our Rowdies in action tomorrow night. Go get your tickets, rowdysoccer.com. Let's see if you can pull the double dip like myself. I am going to be at Benchmark International Arena for the hockey game, and then as soon as that game is over, I am getting out of town. I might actually leave a little bit earlier tomorrow so I can get out of there, so I can head over to Al Lang in St. Pete to be able to support our Tampa Bay Rowdies. Go get your tickets now, rowdysoccer.com. It's our final home game for our pal Bruno. I just saw a picture of Bruno. Leo Fernandez. Go check him out. I'm going to stay for probably 2 hours, 7:30 kick. Fan appreciation night at Al Lang as they take on Detroit City FC. Still got a chance to make the playoffs. Still got a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Go check them out, man. Gotta love our guys and gals. Good stuff as well. Excuse me. I'm tired, man. I just one of those days when you wake up and you're like, am I still crazy? I'm still so tired. Shirley, but have you studied any potential D-man trade additions for the Bolts? No, because they have a lot of guys in AHL in Syracuse. They're going to see Declan Carlisle. You see Destu is another guy that we just spoke about yesterday with Eric Erlinson. So I don't know if necessarily right now. I mean, Mario Ferraro has been a name over the last couple of years, but we kind of have to see how it all shakes out for the Bolts, no doubt. All right, what to watch this weekend? The top 10 things to watch this weekend. Number 10. The Celtics and the Knicks tonight, 7:30, Amazon Prime, as Amazon starts their foray into the NBA deal. I don't know if you guys saw this last night, but during the halftime show, the football and the basketball, there was like a little back and forth between Blake Griffin and Andrew Whitworth. It was kind of awkward. It's very strange. Something about the chair and the lumbar support, like it did not flow well. And then they're asking the football guys, they're asking the basketball guys about their football breakdown, and I'm just like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this at all. I'm good on that. Thank you very much. Number 9, a matchup of one-loss teams in the SEC. Number 8, Ole Miss. Number 13, Oklahoma. Now, we know Ole Miss coming off the loss against Georgia. We know Oklahoma, obviously, they had their perfect season spoiled by Texas in the Red River rivalry. This is an opportunity to show, right? High noon. They're in Norman, Oklahoma. Mateer, now it's a couple weeks back from the injury. Is he feeling better? Is he getting back to, remember, John Mateer early on in the season, for as well that he was playing, people were wondering, could he be in the Heisman Trophy conversation? I don't know if necessarily he's in there now, but you go back and you say, all right, this is a matchup between these two teams where this could knock one of these teams out of the college football playoff. And it's a nice matchup too, because you want to talk about like styles making fights. You know, from as many years at Clemson with Dabo, Brent Venables' defense and how important it is to the Sooners to be able to stop these big time offenses in the SEC. And you have Lane Kiffin on the other side who knows what this means for him. If I'm a Gator fan, I'm pulling for Oklahoma big here. Because if you want Lane Kiffin, the best way, the closest way to be able to get him is if Ole Miss goes on a little bit of a skid here. So if I'm a Gator, I'm definitely cheering for the Sooners. Another big matchup in the SEC. Who saw this coming? Like, honestly, if I would have told you before the season that the Missouri-Vanderbilt matchup was going to be a game between the Tigers at 6-1, 15th in the country, I think maybe, right? Because Eli's done such a great job with them the last couple of years. But Vanderbilt at number 10, I mean, what Diego Pavia was able to do last week against LSU, watching that game, like he was the best player on the field, outplayed Garrett Nussmeier. We know where their one loss came in that battle against Alabama, where they came up short. But you look at their role in this entire thing in the SEC, already with a win on the road in Columbia against South Carolina, and you look at if they win this game, and then they have Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, and Tennessee, like, all right, Diego, you want to be that guy. They have an opportunity if they can win some of these games. And it's going to be tough to go on the road next week, high noon against Texas, home against Auburn and Kentucky, and finish on the road against Tennessee. If they have any hope to really be a player in the SEC in the college football playoff, it starts this week against Missouri. I'm excited for that matchup. It's going to be a really, really good one. And then also, last but not least, at number 7 on my list, number 3, Texas A&M, number 20, LSU. I mean, it's just some incredible football in the SEC this weekend. Could this be the end of the road for Brian Kelly? I saw something yesterday when people were talking about, the back and forth and how he never really fit in there. And now they're sitting at 5-2 after the loss to Vanderbilt. It's weird. The matchup predictor on ESPN has Texas A&M as a 52% chance of winning this game on the road. I think Brian Kelly is coaching for his job. I really do, because it started out so good on the road against Clemson. At the time, they were number 4 in the country, Cade Klubnik and Dabo Swinney. They win that game 17-10. You beat Florida, but then you lose on the road to Ole Miss. You lose last week to Vanderbilt, and it just doesn't get easier, because win or lose this game, you go on the road next week to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide. Good luck. I think it just never seemed like it was a fit. And with how good teams are in the Southeastern Conference, you had your quarterback too. Like, this is, what more could you ask for if you're Brian Kelly? A big win on the road, a returning quarterback, and then now you're staring at a 3 losses in 8 weeks. I think his time is done. I think they fall to Texas A&M on the road. A&M is one of those teams when everybody's like, oh, who could win the national championship this year? Not enough people are talking about Texas A&M. This is a team, right, that you've taken care of business. You beat Notre Dame in South Bend, and then you look at down the stretch, right? You go to Missouri next week, South Carolina, Samford, and then you finish at Texas. A couple of tough road games, but they didn't have to play Alabama. They didn't have to play Georgia, right? They didn't have to play who else? They didn't have to play Ole Miss. They didn't have to play Oklahoma. So you're looking at some of these teams, didn't have to play Vanderbilt. So, 5 of the, top 7 or 8 teams in the conference, they didn't have to play. So for them, their road to the college football playoff, hey, man, I'm not betting against them, that's for sure. Also, this weekend, number 6, UFC 321, Cyril Gane against Tom Aspinall. Huge matchup. UFC 321, 2 big guys. I'd be very surprised very surprised if this fight went the distance. These guys are going to be throwing hands. Cyril Gane, obviously, we know his deficiencies on the ground. Does Tom try to take this down? I don't know. But if they stand up and these dudes bang, it is going to be nuts. It's a good card. Jandiroba and Mackenzie Dern is the co-main event. Two really talented Brazilian females. You got Umar Nurmagomedov against Bautista, Alexander Volkov against Almeida, and then Rakic against Murzakanov. And then on the undercard, there's another big fight that I was looking at. Klein Rebecki, Alaskarov against Park. Yeah, some good fights. Not too many household names as they square off there in Abu Dhabi. But that main event is the one you're going to want to see. You're really going to watch Aspinall and Gane from the Etihad, Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. 6'5", 251 is Tom Aspinall against 6'4", 245 Cyril Gane. That's fireworks, baby. Freaking fireworks. Number 5. Last week I told you about their Klassiker between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. This weekend is El Clásico. 11:15 a.m. on Sunday. Real Madrid versus Barcelona. This is what it means. This is the best rivalry in soccer. No doubt about it. No doubt. These are the two teams that don't like each other. These are the two best teams when you talk about, the rivalries. Real Madrid and the history that they have, obviously led up front by Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham. Like, they have such a good team. Arda Güler has done a really good job as well. They have Tchouaméni and Camavinga and Carvajal. Like, this is a really, really good team. And Kylian Mbappe moving from the left wing to playing in the number 9 role in the central part of the park. He's done really, really well. Number 1 in goal involvements in La Liga. And then Barcelona counters with the best young superstar in the game with Lamine Yamal. And you have Rafinha and Bobby Lou, Robert Lewandowski, and Marcus Rashford, former Manchester United standout. This is one of those matchups that people have been talking about for the last couple of days. This is that big of a deal. So I know if you're looking for something right before the NFL action at 1 o'clock on Sunday, and there's nothing else on at 11:15, flip this on, because there's always a lot of goals. There's always a lot of energy. There's a lot of passion. Go check this one out. It's really good. Number 4, the Colorado Avalanche and the New Jersey Devils. If you're looking for some hockey on Sunday, the Avs are 5-0-3, yet to lose in regulation. The Devils are 6-1. 1 p.m. on Sunday from New Jersey. That should be a good one. The NFL slate is very interesting this weekend because there are only 2 games that pit 2 teams with winning records against each other. There's a lot of, all right, this team's 5-2 against a team that's 2-5. The first one, 1 p.m. in Charlotte, the Buffalo Bills and the Carolina Panthers. And I just told you guys earlier, when you're looking at these guys don't believe me. Can Jay throw hands? Man, we ain't fighting. Abu Dhabi, I don't support those regimes. All right, buddy. I'm making up names. They don't be hating on me. All right. Como que? All right, come on. I know how to pronounce it. What, man? Come on, man. Give me some love here. All right, those are real names. Arda Güler, Carvajal, Eduardo Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. I miss my guy, Luka Modric and Toni Kroos and Casemiro. That was the greatest midfield, one of the greatest midfields of all time. But, yeah, that game's going to be nuts, no doubt about it. But the 2 NFL matchups, Carolina and Buffalo, Panthers are only a game behind. So, I mean, you got to think about it, man. Like, you got to win this game. You got to take care of business if you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Carolina's coming, and they're 1 game behind. Matchup against the Buffalo Bills. We'll see if the Bills and Josh Allen can help out the Buccaneers here. And then number 2 on my list, Packers-Steelers Sunday night. The other matchup between 2 teams with winning records. I think this is the first time. I forgot to look it up. I was meaning to. I think it's the first time Aaron Rodgers is playing the Packers. And the Steelers, they're going to be the best of the rest in the AFC North. We know Joe Burrow's dealing with the injuries. We know Lamar Jackson have dealt with injuries. Who's going to step up in this situation as the Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers go toe-to-toe here You just watch the football. You can just tell the way Jordan Love, throws the football. He's got a little Aaron Rodgers in him. He really does. So that should be a fun one Sunday night. And then number one, the World Series. It starts tonight. Dodgers and Blue Jays from Toronto, north of the border. Shohei Ohtani against Vlad Guerrero. Unbelievable, man. I'm telling you. This is going to be a heck of a matchup. I still think the Dodgers win the series. I still think that they sweep. But we'll see. That's why the games are not played on paper. They're played on the field. All right. We're going to finish this off with Ask Me Anything. We did this a couple of weeks ago. It's been pretty cool. Now's your opportunity. It doesn't have to be, it can be sports. It could be about anything. Ask me anything here on the program. I'll give you 10 minutes to be able to ask questions. And then we'll go from there. Just keep it classy, Benny. I didn't even see if you said anything yet, but I know. Jay, have you ever thought about being a play caller like Dave Randorf? You would be great at it. Thank you, David Terry. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do play-by-play work for USF. I do baseball and softball. I've done some basketball in the past as well. Hockey is definitely the toughest. Do I think I could do it? Yes, if I practice and I worked at it. It's very difficult to be able to kind of just jump right into it and be able to do it. I do have the knowledge of the players, and I do pick up on certain things. Like I've talked to Dave Mishkin about this. Looking how guys skate, looking how guys hold their stick, what color. I always remember like Joe Pavelski from the Sharks always had a white stick. Sergachev was also another guy as well. So yeah, I've thought about it, but it's tough. It's a big time commitment. I would love to do more play-by-play because I feel like play-by-play more suits my strength than being somebody that's kind of like a shock jock talk show host. And I also like being part of a team. Like I would much rather be like, hey, I'm not doing the Jay Recher podcast anymore because I work for USF or I work for the Lightning. As much as I would like to do this and do other sports, but I'm a coach at heart, right? So I want to be part of a team. So, but I love doing this too. So even though I say that, I do love being able to be here with you and to be able to talk a bunch of different sports as well. Keep those conversations going. How many pairs of shoes do you have? Oh my goodness, Janet. Are we talking sneakers? Are we talking dress shoes? I don't like to answer this question usually, but I will for you, Janet, because I love you so much. If I had to take a guess, I would say that I have somewhere in the vicinity to between 50 and 60 pairs of shoes. Yeah, something like that, 50 to 60. And that's combining my sneakers that are all crazy colors and my dress shoes as well. So I would go between 50 and 60. Rolly wants to know, do you think Baker stirring up the pot with the players and fans in New Orleans was a smart move? I sure think so. I don't know if it really had anything to do with it. I think it's just real. It's transparent. It's honest. It's upfront. As we just heard from Greg Allman, like a lot of times you hear guys take the high road, like, oh, it's not that bad. I wouldn't say hate. Like, I like that he embraces it. I wish we saw that more from our professional athletes, like a Brad Marchand or, like a Baker Mayfield. Like, just talk about it, man. Talk about it. Be about it. Live your life that way. I mean, that's the type of genuine stuff that we want to see. That's for sure. Do you like the Orlando Magic or the Miami Heat? Neither. Neither. I am a huge New York Knicks fan. They mean the world to me. It's a sport that my dad was a tremendous basketball player. And for me, like, I love the NBA. And I know it's not as popular here in Tampa. I love the NBA. I love West Coast games that are on late. I like games that are on when nothing else is on. I love West Coast baseball. I love West Coast basketball. I love the Australian Open in soccer. In tennis. But yeah, I'm a big Knicks fan, and I would cry if they won. Yeah, it's never happened in my lifetime. They haven't won since 72, 73. Yeah, something very special. My dad was a tremendous basketball player. I actually tried out for the basketball team my senior year, never playing organized basketball ever. Made the team as a backup point guard, and then I got into a car accident the night of the final tryout, and I couldn't play basketball. I had to get another job because my car insurance went up. So that sucked because I worked really, really hard and had a really good tryout. And my coach was like, He thought I was like playing a prank on him. And I was like, nah, man, I got into a car accident. It was raining. I crashed into the car in front of me. That car crashed into the front of them. And it was a friend of a friend. And he had a brand new like purple Volkswagen Jetta. And both of the cars were just screwed. I remember going home that night like, oh my God, my life is over. I wanted to play basketball so bad. Just never did it. Never did it. But yeah, big Knicks fan. All right, get those questions in. Got about a couple of minutes to go, about 4 minutes to go. Ask me anything sports related, life related. Don't ask me about the lottery numbers because I don't freaking know. If I did, I would probably share them with you guys. With that being said, make sure you guys hydrate. Water is the way to go, baby. While I wait for more questions, make sure you guys, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, all your residential and commercial needs, 813-244-0956. Those are the type of people that you want working on your house, people that you can trust. A guy like Hammer that is a USF grad, loves all of our local Tampa Bay sports teams. He's the best. And then EverHealth, our EverHealth injury report every Thursday at 12:30. But just go to everhealth.org and see all the different things that they can help you and your family. It's really touching to be able to go in there and see how clean it is and see how everybody is so happy and helpful. Like, it's really, really good stuff. I'm just so proud to be able to partner up with a couple of companies that being good people and doing right by people, like, it means that much to them. So Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, everhealth.org. Go check them out today. Tell them that you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. That's the way we're going to keep the show going. Also by the super chats, Marissa and David and Rolly. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. I could not do this without you guys. Thank you so freaking much. All right, I'll take 2 more questions. Get those questions in. Ask me anything. Certain weeks a couple weeks ago, the reason why I did this a couple weeks ago was so high. There's so many different questions, and then not as much the last week. So we'll see how this rolls. See, I want to make sure that I got everything, all the big news of the sports world. Bo Bichette, Clayton Kershaw, both on the World Series rosters. That's good. I want to talk about this real quick. Tony Vitello has left the University of Tennessee baseball team to go manage the San Francisco Giants. That's awesome, man. And I really hope that we see more of that. I really hope that we get an opportunity to see more college baseball coaches go up, because the way the college baseball is played, I really wish that more major league teams played like that. Bunting, stealing, hit and run. It's a more exciting game, and I think that's how you're going to grow the game as well. So congratulations to Coach Vitello, and I really hope it works out. Love watching West Coast games. Also, I'll stop by and see you at the game while you're at Sticks and Stools. Nice. Make sure you come on by. That is really, really cool. I am a night owl. That is for sure. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. No more questions today. I got to go get a haircut, but I love you all, man. You guys are the best. A big thank you to Greg Auman and Joey Johnston for joining us on the program today. Amir Abdur-Rahim. A year ago today, we lost him, but we never lost you, my friend. You're always going to be in our hearts. Your legacy will live on forever. We miss you, bud. We miss you. We wish you were still here, but like I said, your legacy will live forever. Good luck to the Bucks this weekend. Good luck to the Bolts this weekend. Everybody, Rowdies, man, go out there. Rowdysoccer.com. Leo Fernandez's last home game for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. That's going to be sick. It's going to be freaking awesome, man. Cannot wait to be there for that. A lot of games for me in the morning. I got to drive all the way out to Davenport. It's going to be a long freaking ride, but I can't wait. Love me some baseball, man. Everybody have a great weekend, man. I'm hoping it's a victory Monday. Buccaneers win in New Orleans. Lightning get a couple of wins. Rowdies, like, that'd be really cool. Enjoy the games this weekend. Again, thank you to EverHealth. Thank you to Honest Hammer. Thank you to Marissa, to David, to Rolly for the super chats. I could not do this without you guys. Thank you so much. Have a safe, a happy, a healthy weekend. And we'll see you on Monday at noon right here on the Jay Recher podcast. I'm gone.